Hello! I'd like to officially welcome you to Sierra Service Project Adult Counselor Training Session. The goals of this training are to ensure that each counselor understands the mission and purpose of Sierra Service Project, to make sure that all counselors have a good idea of what they can expect at SSP, to make sure that each counselor knows what SSP expects of him or her, and to go over some specific information from the prep packet that will help you understand your responsibilities, and also to refresh and reiterate all of this information for returning counselors. This training will be split up into 3 sections, approximately 30 minutes each. You can take all of these sections in one setting or split them up. Each section will have corresponding questions to make sure that you understand the information. These questions won't be difficult, we just want to make sure that people are taking in the information. At the end of the training, you'll be asked to complete a survey about your experience. You should have a handout packet we emailed out to you. We will refer to it as we discuss various aspects of the SSP experience. We don't have time today to go over every detail of what is in your handout, so we hope you will look back at it if you need more information later. Please feel free to jot down any questions you have as they come up during the training. Hopefully they will all get answered as we work through the material, but if not, you can call or email our office with those questions. A good starting point is to take a few minutes to reflect on SSP's mission statement. We have updated our mission statement this year to reflect all of the work that SSP does, both during the summer and throughout the year, in Native American and urban communities, with youth and young adults. Sierra Service Project's mission statement is building faith and strengthening communities through service to others. Now let's take a look at the SSP theology statement. Please read along on page 2 of your counselor packet. We know God to be a giver of wonderful gifts. Sierra Service Project is an extension of the divine invitation into a relationship with God. Like God, Sierra Service Project can only invite, but cannot control the response of those invited. Like grace, Sierra Service Project offers service freely, without judging if the receiver merits our love. We as participants of Sierra Service Project are the receiver of God's grace. We extend that same grace to our hosts by putting our faith into action, repairing homes. We respond to God's invitation to open ourselves up to the possibility of a transformational experience. In community, we begin to recognize our dependence on God and interdependence on each other. As a community, we strive to grow, being led by the Spirit. We choose to serve, believing that through our humble acts of love, we can learn about God's character and love for us. We seek to accept people as they are from the moment they stand before us, as the first step towards a relationship. We seek to remain open, an openness of hand and of heart that we might give, receive, and understand. Through our acts of service, we allow the grace of God to flow into and through our lives. We understand that all people are valuable, carefully fashioned in God's image, and we are freed to accept the essential humanity of each person we meet. In reaching out to others, we follow the example of service set forth by Christ. As with Christ, we serve people whose lives will benefit by our service. We believe that God lives with us and the work we do with our hands and our hearts. We realize that despite the differences in culture, values, history, and geography, we are all brothers and sisters of worth. Let us accept the Sierra Service Project invitation. Let us rise up and build.
On page 3 of your handout, you'll find Sierra Service Project 101. We'd like to go over this page now, as it will answer many of the questions you may have. As many as 70 youth and adult counselors participate each week at SSP. That number might be made up of several large youth groups, many small youth groups, or some combination of these. Individual high school youth are also encouraged to participate with SSP. Over 120 churches will be sending a total of almost 1,800 participants to one of our 6 sites this summer. Most of those churches are from California, where SSP has its roots, but there are also groups from Arizona, Nevada, New Mexico, Oregon, Washington, Hawaii, Colorado, New York, and Texas. Most churches who participate in SSP are United Methodist, but we also have participants from Episcopal, Lutheran, Presbyterian, Catholic, United Church of Christ, and non-denominational churches. Some of these churches will be on their first SSP adventure, but many go every year. A few churches have been participating in our programs for more than 3 decades. This year, 4 of our 6 sites are in rural locations. Walker River, Nevada, and Saley, Arizona are on Native American reservations. Chiloquin, Oregon, and Smith River, California may work with the local tribe, but our services are open to anyone in the community. Our last 2 sites are in the urban communities of Stockton, California, and San Diego, California. We will also be sending several small teams of mature youth and young adults to Nicaragua.
Our community is usually housed in a school or church for the week. We eat, sleep, worship, and play there. Sometimes we may use other facilities or schools for showers. Some sites have porta potties. Dining and cooking facilities are different at each site. Some of us will be eating inside and others will be eating outside. All volunteers, both youth and adults, sleep on the floor, with a line between the young men and the young ladies. Some work sites are close by our home base and others can be quite a distance.
At the beginning of the summer, our construction staff members work with the tribal or community leaders to determine which homes we should work on. They go through each home and determine which jobs we will do based on skills needed, safety, and cost. Each job is chosen carefully. We look for a job that can involve all members of a work team, a job that can be done safely at the work site, and a job that can be completed during the summer.
You will hear us say this several times at your week at SSP, but please do not discuss other projects or promise work that comes up at your worksite with the homeowners before talking to the construction coordinator about the problem or job. There may be several reasons that the job isn't on our to-do list. So now that you know how SSP decides which homes to work on, let's take a look at some of the projects that SSP does.
We repair drywall.
We repair and replace flooring and subflooring.
We repair and patch roofs.
We paint. We build stairs and awnings. We build wheelchair ramps and decks. We do not do plumbing or electrical work here at SSP. Remember, we will teach you what you need to know to make these fabulous projects happen.
Let's meet who you'll be working with this summer. Each year, SSP hires 42 young adults who dedicate 9.5 weeks of their summer to working with the youth and counselors who attend SSP. Each staff is typically made up of 7 individuals whose job descriptions you will find on your handout. The staff from all the sites start out in Sacramento for training, spend a week at site setting up, have 6 weeks of campers, and finally have 1 week of cleanup and debrief back in Sacramento. Most of them have attended SSP themselves when they were youth, and about 1/2 of the staff have served on staff before.
The site director oversees the operation of the entire site and leads the staff team. He or she is the primary liaison with the SSP headquarters in Sacramento. The Spiritual Life Coordinator organizes all of the programs and activities. This includes team building, evening programming, cultural exchanges, and all other spiritual components of the week. The SLC is also the spiritual leader for the staff.
Our food service coordinator team purchases and prepares all of our fabulous food for about 65 people each week. They also recruit and oversee volunteers that want to help out in the kitchen.
Each site has 3 staff members that are dedicated to the construction part of the SSP experience. They select projects, purchase and organize supplies, teach construction skills, offer ongoing support to the teams, and oversee the projects from start to finish.
Although each staff member has a specific job, they all work very closely together to make each week a wonderful success. Prior to heading out to the summer site, all staff members gather for 10 days in Sacramento for training in job-specific skills, youth ministry, conflict resolution, finances, and defensive driving. All of our staff are first aid and CPR certified, and our food service coordinators each have a food handler's card.
SSP is also supported by a volunteer board of directors. These folks are made up of a cross-section of backgrounds, faiths, and a professional expertise. They devote their time and money to SSP year-round. The board also includes 3 youth members.
Welcome back to Section 2, what you can expect at Sierra Service Project and what SSP expects of you. On page 6 you will find what will happen at SSP. Even though you may have heard about what to expect when you get to SSP, nothing can actually prepare you for the rush. One youth worker has said, when you arrive on Sunday, it's like when you've been standing in line for a roller coaster forever, and then you get on the ride, and you go up, 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 then down, flip around, up, around, flip-flop, up and down again, and it's over. That's what Sunday's like. Let's take a look at Sunday first because there's a lot of important stuff on Sunday and it can be overwhelming after a long car ride. You can follow me down the page. Please plan to arrive between 2 and 4 p.m. Arrival time is obviously extremely important and we want you to know why. The staff lay in wait each Sunday afternoon for the groups that arrive between 2 and 4. Arriving before 2 doesn't allow the staff their full 28 hours of prep time, including a few hours off. And arriving after 4 means that Sunday evening schedule doesn't get started on time and pushes us later into the evening than we would like, after a long day's drive for you. The official business doesn't start until all groups arrive. Please make your travel plans to allow you to arrive on time. If your church is having a problem with this arrival window, please call the office and talk it over with the staff to plan accordingly. Once everyone has arrived, the staff will host a welcome and orientation time to introduce themselves, go over the weekly schedule, SSP safety policies, and everything you'll need to know about the week. After the welcome, campers will have an opportunity to get to know each other and play some games while the site director, some of the staff, and the adult counselors go to the first staff counselor meeting. The site director and adult counselors will meet each night while the youth are getting ready for bed to talk about the day and make plans for the next day. At Sunday night's first staff counselor meeting, the site director has a lot of information that he or she needs to relay to the counselors, and construction and cooks need information from the counselors. This will be the longest but most important staff counselor meeting. When the staff counselor meeting has finished, it's on with the evening. We will have dinner, followed by singing, then the work teams will be announced. Once all teams have been revealed, everyone will have time to introduce themselves to their team members and learn about their project for the week. Then it's bed prep, spiritual reflection, and lights out. Sunday night sets the tone for the rest of the week, but most of the rest of the days have a normal schedule. Since you've heard the term work teams a few times, I want to go back and talk about what work teams are. Each team is typically made up of 2 adults and 5 youth. Each team will have its own project at a home. Churches need to bring vehicles that can transport a work team of 7 to and from the work site. Sedans and trucks don't work well. Youth and adults from different churches are all blended together into work teams. Our construction staff needs the following information from all of the adults to help form the work team. 1. Any prior construction experience that might be helpful for that week's work projects. Remember, no experience is necessary, but if you have any, we'd like to know. We also need to know who is driving which vehicle and how many seat belts there are. And finally, this is the time for adult counselors to let the construction staff know about people who shouldn't be on the same work team together, such as best friends, siblings, parents, and romantically involved youth. If a certain youth needs to be with a certain adult, please let us know at this time. Sunday evening, the work teams get together for the first time and get to know one another. Work teams are together a lot during the week and do just about everything. Besides working at their work site, they lead worship or a grace and give site reports to let everyone else know what they are doing at their site and how it's going. Work teams do chores together as well. Just traveling to and from the work site can be lots of fun. Work teams usually grow very close by the end of the week.
On page 8 of your handout, you can find the typical schedules for the high school and combined sessions at SSP. On page 9, you can find the typical schedule for middle school sessions at SSP. There is no true typical day at Sierra Service Project, but this is a general outline of what you should be able to expect.
Spiritual awakening is a great way for youth and adults to center themselves before they start their long day of work. It is the only optional activity at SSP.
Following breakfast, everyone will gather for a brief morning program to introduce the day's theme with some activities. We have done this at both high school and middle school sites and have found it to be a very successful way to center the group for the day.
Because we work so hard during the day, it's very important to fuel our bodies in the morning. After breakfast, the lunch makers from each work team make sandwiches. After the safety presentation on Monday, the staff will take teams out to the work site, where you will be introduced to your homeowner and work project. After the first day, teams will go straight to the work site right after sandwiches are made. Each team will take their lunch break at the work site, with time for discussion of the day's theme. Teams will return to home base around 4 in the afternoon, where they will have time for showers and free time. Then a yummy home-cooked dinner. Each work team will have an assigned chore that will take place right after dinner. After community chores is program. The first part of program is singing for mail. We encourage your church to send packages and letters to all of your youth. The Spiritual Life Coordinator will create a program for every night based on the theme of the week. It will include singing, team building, discussion time, games, reflection, and a chance to get to know your tribal or community hosts, and will of course be packed with silly and serious times. After the evening program will be gamification time for the youth, plus a little free time. During the youth gamification will be the nightly staff counselor meeting. This will be a time for counselors and staff to catch up, go over any concerns from the day, and talk about the next day's plans and discuss any logistics. And that's a day at SSP. Well, that covers the typical daily schedule. Every day at SSP holds its own traditions and growth opportunities. Monday night, work teams will report to the rest of the groups about what their project is and who their homeowners are. Tuesday night is culture night. A member or members of the hosting tribe or local community will come to talk to the group about their community. Wednesday is water day. It is important to have some time to rest and rejuvenate our bodies. Teams work until about 1, and then they caravan to a water hole. There is time for swimming, playing, games, talking, and singing, and of course there's a barbecue. There's time for kicking back and cooling off.
Thursday night is traditionally a very powerful part of the week. Participants are given a wonderful spiritual opportunity to focus on where they are in their faith journey. For middle school groups, this night will look more like our Friday activities.
Friday night is a tradition we call Candle. Everyone will have an opportunity to share their thoughts and feelings about the week with the entire group. It can be a very powerful experience. Saturday morning starts out with packing up, cleaning up, eating up, then it's time for historic photos and photos on photos, and then a few more photos. Then it's time to say goodbye. Groups are usually ready to leave around 10.
Before anyone leaves for the work site on Monday morning, the staff will give a presentation about safety at the work site. Work teams will then rotate through stations where the staff will teach the youth how to use power tools. The hands-on safety presentation allows volunteers to gain experience using tools in a safe place before starting on a work project. For some, this may be the first time that they've ever held a power tool. It also provides youth working on a painting project to gain experience using power tools that they may not use on their project.
Sierra Service Project is committed to creating and maintaining safe environments for young people and the adults and staff who work with them. This responsibility includes maintaining an environment in which youth are protected from emotional, physical, and sexual exploitation and harassment of any kind. Most churches have created a policy in the past few years to create emotional and physical safety for children and adults. Over the years, Sierra Service Project has developed a set of policies and practices aimed at creating this environment and reducing the risk to participants and staff. Our policies are in line with these local church policies. You have several parts of the policies on page 9 that we are going to cover. I will read these, and if you have any questions or comments, please make notes and contact the SSP office when the training is complete. Obviously, if you are participating in training, you have been selected by your church to serve as a chaperone for your kids. We are honored that you have taken the time to attend a counselor training session, and we look forward to working with you. Please read through with me. This section may be a bit more dry than previous, but it is very important. It is exactly what's on your handout. Counselor screening and orientation. It is the responsibility of participating churches to select mature, committed, and responsible adults to accompany their youth and participate in SSP. Sierra Service Project will enforce the following policies with regard to church counselors. First, all counselors must be at least 23 years old unless they have been specifically approved by SSP's director. In approving exceptions to this policy, SSP will make sure that the counselor is actively involved in the local church's youth ministry program and is a mature adult. Second, all counselors must submit to a criminal background check, to be done either by SSP, the local church, or the counselor's employer. To be valid, background checks must be done at least every 2 years. Individuals convicted of violent crimes, sexual crimes, serious drug offenses, and crimes involving children will not be allowed to participate as counselors. Third, all counselors will be strongly encouraged to attend an SSP counselor training session where counselor expectations are carefully reviewed. This online training is your counselor session. And fourth, at the beginning of each week at SSP, Sunday night, Counselors will be given a presentation on child abuse reporting responsibilities, SSP's non-harassment policy, and our safe behavior policy. Safety measures at our project sites, the open space rule. At Sierra Service Project, we want to eliminate situations where abuse is possible and situations which make an allegation of abuse possible. The open space rule involves the following. First, all gatherings of small individuals will take place in open areas which are clearly visible to people not involved in the activity. Second, private conversations involving one adult and one youth will always take place in an open area clearly visible to other people. Third, a single adult, staff, or counselor will not transport a single youth unless there is another youth or adult present. Sleeping arrangements. Youth and adult counselors are required to sleep in separate sleeping areas, one for males and one for females. Showers. Arrangements are made at each site so that youth and adults do not share group showers. Guidelines for appropriate physical contact. Appropriate and loving physical contact is very important to the healthy development of young people and is a powerful way to affirm youth. Teens are very often starved of this kind of contact. Therefore, it's encouraged at SSP. Examples of appropriate physical contact between adults and young people are shaking hands, high fives, sideways shoulder hugs, touching the back, arms, hands, and elbows, and hugging that is loose, touching the shoulders, not chests and hips. The following kinds of contact between adults and children are inappropriate, can be offensive, and can easily lead to misunderstandings. These kinds of behaviors are not acceptable. Touching on the chest, legs, or behind, butt slapping, lap sitting, kissing, any physical contact that an individual has expressed any level of discomfort with, patting on the head. These rules regarding touch apply regardless of the genders involved. Any instances of misconduct should be relayed to the site director as soon as possible. Please don't hesitate to contact the office with any questions.
On the next page of your handout, you will find SSP's Goals for Healthy Eating. Let's take a look at these two pages to learn about SSP's Healthy Bodies, Healthy Souls policy. Cooking for 65 people is very challenging. Cooking for 65 teenagers and adults who've been working all day is even more so. The kitchens at our sites vary from small kitchens not larger than a household kitchen to large kitchens outfitted for serving meals to large groups. Menus change from site to site based on what items are available to our food service coordinators at each location. Our goal is healthy eating for the week, so we strongly discourage providing junk food. Since SSP is an experience of living in a community where people often have less than we do, our food is respectively simple. Our food service coordinators, or FSCs, strive to offer plenty nutritious and tasty food, prepared and given out of love. We try to accommodate everyone with special dietary needs, so please contact the site director beforehand with any special dietary needs prior to your arrival. That way, the FSCs can do all necessary shopping. We will have vegetarian options at every meal. Helping out in the kitchen is encouraged. SSP kitchens are a place for creating great food with lots of love and laughs. The intention of the steps we're taking at SSP in our food program is to continue the trend we are seeing in many schools and camps nationwide to promote healthy diets for all youth. As we all know, the consumption of junk food has exploded in the past decade. Those of us who work with teenagers know that food is an important part of their lives. Taking care of our bodies at SSP goes hand in hand with using our bodies to serve others. It's not our goal to deny participants any sweet treats during the week. SSP has some traditional yummy goodies such as homemade cookies, Otter Pops on a hot afternoon, and root beer floats.
If you turn to the back of the handout, I'd like to look at each of the steps. Each afternoon, during free time, the SSP staff provides a healthy array of snack foods for all counselors and campers. This consists of things like fresh fruit, cheese sticks, crackers, trail mix, carrots with ranch dressing, and others. Work groups will be asked by the site directors not to make stops to purchase snacks at local markets during their trips to and from the work sites and showers. Rewarding kids with sweets and junk food for hard work or for reaching a goal sets up a habit that is hard to break and creates bad feelings when one work team does it and the others don't. Church groups will be asked not to arrive at SSP with large quantities of junk food in their vans. Food is not allowed in the sleeping areas for hygiene purposes and to prevent rodent problems. Churches that arrive with junk food will be encouraged to box it up for the trip home. Junk food will not be left in the vans during the week. We request that SSP liaisons encourage parents not to send care packages containing low nutritious food to their campers. Care packages are very welcome, but should contain healthy snacks like granola bars, mixed nuts, and fruit snacks, for instance. Groups will be asked to eat these during afternoon snack time or take them out to the worksite for lunch and snacks. SSP chefs will provide good food in ample quantities for both breakfast and dinner and will be happy to make more if people are still hungry. Traditional SSP lunches consist of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and are augmented with fresh fruit where it's available and some salty snacks to help replace sodium that is lost through sweating. This simple meal and lunchtime is a good time to reflect on how blessed we are to have food and to be eating a meal with friends. What are we asking you to do? Some of you are the liaisons for your group, so we are looking to you to make sure that the youth and adults are aware of what to expect on the SSP menu for the week. It works out well that others are counselors, so that you can be fully aware of our plan and can help the liaisons to communicate the information and support it. We are asking adult counselors to do the following. Explain the expectations to your youth and to their parents. Explain the reasoning behind our strong commitment to healthy eating. Work to see that your church team can support what we are trying to do. Ask them to support it with good humor and grace. It's only for a week. Many churches have asked if they can bring sports drinks such as Gatorade to have on the worksite. Absolutely. We are asking you to bring Gatorade powder for work teams to use in their water jugs. Most jugs are 5 gallons and the standard 1-pound canister of powder works great. Please do not bring individual plastic bottles. Please try to bring 2 5-gallon water jugs for each vehicle so we can send out both sports drinks and water.
SSP is all about creating community, whether that community is with our fellow volunteers or the people that we have come to serve. We are guests of the local community and facility where we stay. We want to maintain SSP's great reputation in these host communities so that we will be invited back to serve as long as there is a need. Living in a community of 50 to 70 people means that everyone has to make sacrifices in the interest of the community. It means that everyone is expected to participate in all activities and be on time. These guidelines help us support one another so that all SSP participants can focus more on God and service and less on our individual desires. A very important part of this is the dress code. The intention of the SSP dress code is to prevent clothing or lack of clothing to become a distraction to any of our daily community activities. Be respectful and reflective of dress standards in our host communities, which may be more conservative than our own. And finally, it ensures that everyone brings and wears the proper clothing so that staff and counselors don't have to confront individuals about how they are dressed. We expect that everyone will honor the dress code when participating in all scheduled community activities each day. Guidelines for dress. Sleeveless tops, tank tops, halter tops, half or crop tops are not allowed during the day. Tank tops and shorts are acceptable for sleeping, but participants must be fully clothed for evening worship. Clothing must not display slogans or artwork which include alcohol, tobacco, or obscenities. No short shorts. Shorts must be mid-thigh length or longer. Thrift store jeans cut off at mid-thigh work great. Groups can decorate them with permanent markers for pre-trip fun. Pants must not sag or sit below the waistline, exposing undergarments. Skirts must fall to the knee. Skirts are not allowed at the worksite and are discouraged in the evening because participants spend much of the time either running around or sitting on the floor. Dress code during the workday. Closed-toe shoes, like work boots or tennis shoes, must be worn at the worksite. No sandals or open-toed shoes. Long pants are not required at the worksite, but are generally more comfortable when sitting on roofs or the ground. Hats and bandanas are good protection from the sun. What not to bring. Tobacco, alcohol, firearms, illegal drugs, and pyrotechnics are strictly forbidden at SSP. Electronic gadgets other than cameras are also not allowed. This includes cell phones, laptop computers, tablets, MP3 players like iPods, and handheld video game consoles. These devices encourage volunteers to isolate themselves rather than become part of the community we are trying to form. Each day, work teams will be assigned a community service opportunity. These include kitchen patrol, or KP, before and after each meal, and bathroom patrol, or BP, twice daily. Everyone is expected to help with these chores, which are assigned on a rotating basis to work teams. Hygiene is very important at SSP, so there are specific instructions on how to do all of these jobs. Frequent hand washing is also a tradition at SSP that will help keep everyone healthy. Camper covenants. As a part of their paperwork, youth, their parents, and adult counselors are asked to sign covenants agreeing to fully partake in the SSP community. In our fast-paced lives, we tend to overlook things that we sign, but all parties who sign this covenant are responsible for their acknowledgement of SSP's dress code, electronics, healthy bodies, and hygiene policies. Youth and their parents have been asked to sign a covenant stating this, and liaisons are responsible for bringing this covenant to site.
On the next page, you will find what SSP expects of adult counselors. I've walked through a lot of materials, so I hope that by now you have a good understanding of what you can expect from SSP. Now, let's discuss what we are counting on you to do as adult counselors. I've talked about most of the direct situations that counselor expectations relate to, so these should be pretty straightforward. Let's take a look at the handout. Counselors are an essential part of the SSP experience. They transport campers, assist with all site activities, and serve as role models to both campers and staff. Above all, the adult counselors are expected to work closely with the SSP staff members to create an environment of trust and mutual respect. The SSP staff members have been trained and are experienced in SSP policies and procedures. Counselors are expected to model good communication skills and help work out conflicts quickly and without drama, discuss problems with the site director rather than participate in divisive discussions with youth or other adults, keep the youth positive when things aren't going as planned, set an example by adhering to and enforcing the dress code, healthy bodies policy, and the other rules presented by the staff. Be present for the entire week. Youth and counselors are not allowed to arrive late or leave early. Participate in all activities, including singing, housekeeping duties, and all other program activities, and help your youth to be involved as well. Take responsibility for the youth from your church, being sure that they uphold the rules and policies as well. Be sure that youth are not skipping meals and are getting to sleep at night. Participate on the work site in a way that is leader appropriate, ensuring that all youth assigned to your work team are part of the action. Build self-esteem through affirmation and praise and refrain from put-downs. Ensure the safety of the youth under your care at all times. Do not carry more passengers in a vehicle than it is designed to carry, and make certain that you do not drive away in a vehicle until everyone is secured by a seatbelt. Obey the speed limits. Refrain from sexual harassment, abusive language or behavior, and discrimination. This includes profanity, suggestive or crude hand gestures, and off-color jokes or comments. Assist SSP staff by policing youth on this as well. Be appropriate in all physical contact with youth. Examples of inappropriate behavior are hitting, spanking, pinching, lap sitting, laying on or being laid upon, resting your head in a youth's lap, or vice versa. Remember that youth in your own church group may be used to more physical contact than youth from other groups. Respect personal space boundaries. This is as much for your protection as for theirs.
Tuesday night is traditionally our culture night. Members of the host tribe or community come to share about the history and culture of their tribe or community area. They also share stories about the current happenings on the reservations or in the city. It is a wonderful opportunity for our guests to share with us and is a true gift for us to learn from them. Each tribe has a different way of bringing us their story. Some nights the guests are singers and dancers. Some bring handmade crafts and foods. Some teach the group words or songs in their native language. There is always time for questions and answers. The interaction between work teams and the homeowner can vary from site to site. Some homeowners work during the day and others are mostly at home. You are encouraged to take time to visit with the homeowner during the day. Our presence there is as much a gift as the work we do on their homes. Please feel free to share in any food that is offered. This is a way for our hosts to show their appreciation. Homeowners are welcome to join us for dinner. Talk with the site director for more information.
To learn more about the site you will be attending this summer, please visit our website for site-specific details. We also post frequently to our Facebook page and Instagram account.
I would like to take this opportunity to say that SSP is not an adventure that is right for everyone. Hopefully, I've been able to give you a very good idea of what to expect. Now, you need to prayerfully consider whether SSP is an opportunity that is appropriate for you. And if you should decide it isn't, please don't feel bad about that decision. Please don't hesitate to call or email our office with any questions following this training. Thank you for participating in online counselor training and for helping SSP provide a quality, enriching, spiritual growth experience for youth. The whole SSP experience depends on all of its participants being in partnership with one another. By your participating in training, we have begun to build a solid foundation for a terrific spirit-filled project experience for all. Thank you and see you at site.